Hello there. In this particular video, we're going to explore a few sections in this unit 3, communication and network. So the first question that I want to ask you and discuss with you today is what is computer communications? Now, if you look at the term telecommunication, communication by itself is the process of sharing information. When you talk to someone, that is a communication process whereby you share information. You tell your friend when you're talking about something, that is a process of sharing information. So the word telecommunication itself, meaning that tele is far in Greek. So telecommunication meaning that communication at a distance. Usually communication involves speech, like what I mentioned just now, and what I'm doing at the moment is actually talking to you and I'm actually communicating to you. We can also include sound, pictures, text, and so on as part of communication. So telecommunication is basically communication at a distance. If you look at the history of telecommunication, early telecommunications is using something like smoke signals and drums. If you look at the picture on the slide, that's the picture of the Indians in America creating a smoke signal in order to communicate over a distance. So this is very primitive, but again, this is a very simple to do. As long as you have fire and you can create smoke, then you can send some sort of signal to the other party at some distance. Of course, there are limitations whereby it is limited in terms of distance. Maybe it's limited in terms of the amount of information you can share and so on. Then we have visual telegraphy, or in another word, semaphore. It was invented in 1792, and I'm sure you have seen the picture or even probably use it in some situation. So the second diagram or picture on the slide is showing um, a man holding two flags, color-coded flags, and you send information by changing the position of the flag and so on. Well, if you have traveled using aeroplane and when you arrive um, at the airport, maybe you notice that there is someone on the ground that instruct the aeroplane to move to the parking bay using some sort of signals as well. Then we have telegraph and telephone. Telegraph 1839 and telephone was invented. I'm sure you can guess it by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. Next, we have radio and television, the one that we have been using at home and so on. And next, we have telephony, whereby you send voice information or you communicate through voice. Basically, when you pick up a phone, a landline, or even nowadays when you have your phone, your smartphone, and you pick up your phone and make a call, that is actually telephony, whereby it involves voice and also data as well. So you can see telecommunication is not something new. People have been using telecommunication over hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe even thousands and thousands of years. And you can see the progression of telecommunication from something as simple as using smoke signal and drums up until what we have today using the internet, whereby you can pass huge amount of data over the internet in a very short time, maybe millisecond or even less than that. So it is amazing actually, the history of telecommunication from the early beginning until what we have now. Now, if you look at communication itself, and specifically computer communication, it describes a process, so it is actually a process, in which two or more computers or devices, I'm sure you understand what are computers, laptop, desktop, or devices, your tablet, your smartphone, and so on, whereby these devices transfer data or instruction or and information. So basically, it involves two or more computers. It is a process whereby these devices or computer transfer data, instruction, and information. So if you look at the diagram on the slide, we have three components whereby you have the sending device, then you have the communication channel, and you have the receiving device. And you can see a variation of this model from different textbooks. So basically, it involves three things. You have the sender, you have the medium or the channel, and you have the receiver. And it is a process, and you can transfer data, instruction, or information. Now, the next question that I want to ask you is what data communication and network can do for you. This is actually a very simple question and something that you can understand. In the beginning of this unit, whereby I have the introduction video, I asked the same question. What is the benefit of data communication and network for you? I mean, you are the Gen Y and Millennium generation. You are well versed in using technologies. You are well versed in using ICT. And it's part and parcel of our life now, whether it's for something official or for study purpose, for work purpose, or for leisure purpose. It doesn't matter. We are using data communication and also network. So what it can do for you actually? The list that I have here is a very short list, and I'm very sure all of you have used either all of it or some part of it. Now, networks are changing. I believe it has changed actually. The way we do business, as I mentioned just now, it's just not official. It can be your leisurely life as well, and the way we live. So it is very, very significant in this day and age. So we are living in the 21st century, and the key resources that we have is information. So if you look at the list, first is internet. This is actually something that you will understand. Basically, internet is using the World Wide Web, using your browser to find information, mobile phone to communicate to another party. You have electronic mail, your email to send messages, information, tasks to another party. Cable TV or satellite TV, something that you use for your leisures and things like that. Of course, you have your computer networks to connect two devices or more over a network, and to share information, to provide instruction, and so on. Telephone system, Astro TV network, which is based on satellite communication, and of course your mobile communication using SMS, MMS. So maybe what we can do now, while you're listening to this video, can you suggest three other usages of a communication network? Just pick any three. I'm sure you can come up with more than three, but just pick any three, and maybe you can discuss with your friend. This is other three usages of communication network. Now, if you look at data communication, we also have to understand what are the components involved in data communication so that we are very clear what are the components. If you look at this diagram, basically we have five components. First is you have a protocol, then you have the sender, then you have the message being sent, then you have the medium, and on the other side you have the receiver. So protocol, sender, message, medium, receiver. There are five actually components in data communication. But what is the function of each of these components? So very briefly, these are the five components and what it actually does in the whole data communication. The first one is message. This one is very simple. It is something that you want to transfer from one point to another point, from the sender to the receiver. So message is just information to be communicated. It can be text, it can be audio, it can be video, pictures, anything that you want to actually share or send to the other parties. So we term that as message. Of course, you need a sender, someone that have the message. The sender basically is the device that sends the message. So basically, you have your computer, you have your tablet, you have your smartphone, and you have your laptop, and so on. So basically, it's just a device. It's just a term to refer to the device that sends the message. Of course, opposite of sender, we have the receiver, a device that receives the message. You need to have a medium on which you want to send the message itself. So basically, the medium is a physical part by which the message travels. And the last one is probably a bit hard to understand, but this is actually a very key component in data communication. It is what we call protocol. Probably you have heard about protocol. Protocol to see the boss, protocol to see the king, protocol to see the minister. Is the same meaning actually. In data communication, protocol is a set of rules or agreement for communication to work on. If you remember the history of telecommunication that we discussed just now, let me take the earliest form of communication, the smoke signal. Now, if you sit down and think, it's easy to understand. You are using a smoke signal to send message. So if you take the smoke signal, it's actually communication, data communication, and it actually adhere or follow the same 5 components. You have the sender, you have the receiver on the other side, you have the message to be sent in terms of the smoke, and you have the medium. Medium is actually the air whereby the smoke travels. And last one, protocol. So what is protocol actually? In order for the receiver to understand the smoke signal that you send, both parties, the sender and receiver, have to agree on a set of rules. If there is one small smoke, what does it mean? If there are two set of smoke, what does it mean? If you want to say something, danger and so on. So what kind of format of the smoke, the distance between one smoke plum to another plume or something like that. So that is the protocol. And every data communication system, whether it's smoke signal, semaphore, telephony, and so on, it has to have these 5 components. As an activity, why don't we sit down and think about this? Probably some of you played this game when you were children. The question is, if you look at the picture, can we consider milk cans and string system? So you have milk cans, or you have any type of can, it doesn't matter, and you have a piece of string, and you connect them together. The question is, can you consider this as data communication system? So why don't you take a bit of time and look at this slide, maybe discuss with your friend whether this particular setup follows the data 5 components of data communication. So name the 5 components using this example. If you have done that, I will stop here for this particular video, and I will continue in the next video with another question, which is what is a network. So go back to the previous example and discuss with your friend and try to come up with an answer. I'll see you in the next video.